So today's video is regarding grid down situation. How are you going to cook with no electricity? Well, a lot of folks don't have gas stoves, and if they have modern gas stoves, they probably have an electric device that serves as a what used to be a pellet light. So, and if you've got an electric stove and you've got no electricity, you're in trouble. So today we're going to look at some things. Propane grill, a lot of folks have on their porch or deck. Above that, I've got a liquid fuel 1973 Coleman 2-burner camp stove, and over here we've got a butane Chinese knockoff stove of the Jetboil, and we're going to take a look at each one of them boiling 500 milliliters of water, and we'll talk about the results. And here comes the intro, and we'll get back to you here in just a second. Just a quick word up front here. All of these can produce carbon monoxide. If you're using one of these, you want to use it in an outdoor area. If you can't use it in an outdoor area because you've got pouring rain and no protection, the two smaller ones could be used in an area like a garage with the garage door open a couple of feet at the bottom. But you do want great ventilation, plenty of oxygen. You don't want to have even a chance to deal with a carbon monoxide poisoning situation. Okay, and this is being redone, this segment. Here we have a pot, we have one burner on high, and we have 500 milliliters of cold water. Put the lid on, and yesterday when we were doing this, the tank ran out, so I put a new tank on. I'm filming with a different camera, but the segment from yesterday is going to be deleted, and we are 26 seconds right now. We're going to see if this will get boiling. If it won't boil in 16 minutes, that's what happened with the other one, then we will just get rid of this as a contender. And okay, we're at 15 minutes. Burner's on high. It's a brand new tank, and it's not boiling. It's not really even steaming. This has had about 3 times as much time as the same pot with the same amount of water on the Coleman camp stove. And the difference is this is a grill. The heat source is a couple inches further away than on a Coleman camp stove. If the heat was as close to this as it is on a Coleman, and you threw a steak or another piece of meat on here, piece of chicken, it would just burn it. It would just burn it up. That's not what this is meant to do. This is meant to cook stuff at a little bit of a distance, or cook stuff with it closed in sort of almost an oven fashion. So I'm not surprised. It is hot, but it's not boiling. And I don't know how long it would take it to get boiling, but this is definitely not the most efficient of the 3 stoves. All right, part 2. We're going to do the Coleman, and we're going to use the right-hand burner, which is the higher output. Once I got the Weber going, I did turn it to high for that burner. I'm going to leave this one on kind of medium high because high is really high on this thing. So, nice cool pan. 500 milliliters of cool water. With a Coleman, you start with this valve up. When the flame goes from orange to blue, you know that the generator is heated and it's vaporizing the gas in the thing, so it's giving you the most efficient flame you're going to get. So we're about ready to turn this down. Go a little bit longer, get a better burn. Okay, a few seconds late, but now the stopwatch is going. Lid's on. And the burner's going so hot that it's actually extending outside of the pot. And that's just wasted heat. So all the fire is on the pot. It is burning like a champ. This is the 1973 Coleman. It's a great stove. Just adjust the windshield here. Very slight breeze out here, but not much. And we'll get back to it when we've got a boil. Okay, I stopped this a few seconds late. It is at a full boil. It was at 329 when I heard it. I got up from my chair, but you can't see it, but you can see the steam coming off. So one burner turned to a sufficient height for the size of the pot. And I'll tell you what, if you don't have a Coleman stove and you don't have a Coleman liquid fuel stove, you might look into getting one. A tank of this fuel will last for hours, literally. The newer stoves run on propane, and those propane tanks, 1 pound tank, from what I read, I don't have one because I'm not that fond of them. I like these ones. These are dead reliable. The propane tank runs for about an hour. You know, maybe that's breakfast and maybe lunch, depending on what you're cooking. If you're cooking bacon and you're trying to cook it low and you're cooking coffee and then pancakes, you might burn through a whole pound at once. So while we still have access to liquid Coleman fuel, these things are great. They're simple, easy to fix, easy to clean up, and it runs like a champ. All right, next, contestant number 3. We're going to go with the knockoff jet boil and some butane. This is what we call 3-season butane because it's good for spring, summer, and fall. But once you get into the cold of the winter, you want to go over to isobutane. That's coming up here just in a second. Before we get started with this, just one piece of free advice, and you can value it at the price you paid for it. But if you're just getting into camping, outdoor living, looking for emergency equipment, supplies, prepping, if you're getting into MREs, any of that, if you don't have a big budget, look around on the used market. Craigslist and Facebook, eBay not as good usually because you got shipping, but you can find stuff at quite a markdown from people who bought something and then decided they weren't using it. This, the little stove up here, this, the lid, a frying pan that comes with it, a spatula that came with it, an Esprit stove, windscreen. I think I paid $10 for the whole thing at a yard sale when there was a community yard sale nearby. So here we get going again. One nice thing about the Jetboil knockoff, you don't need a lighter or a match. So we're going to get it going. We're going to get the clock going. First we'll get the stove going. It's as simple as turning it on and pressing the starter. Okay, that's a pretty intense flame. 500 milliliters. On goes the lid. And here we go. Okay, it's 6 minutes. I turned the heat up just a little bit because it was a little lower than it should have been. But At about right at 6 minutes, this was a rolling boil. So not a scientific test by any means. I didn't want the flame to just be licking up the sides of this, because that seemed like it was heat that just wasted. The Weber is for grilling. That's what it's made for. It doesn't have a side burner. Not great on boiling water because the flame is so far away. It's a couple inches away, like, I don't know, that much from the bottom of a pot. The flame on a camp stove like the Coleman is pretty close to your pot, whether you're using a frying pan, whether you're using a pot to boil, whether you put a skillet on it. I do have a Weber skillet that will fit this thing. You can cook a couple of eggs and bacon and pancakes all at the same time. The jet boil, if you can hear the thing, it's a jet. It's just going like crazy. It's very close to the pot that you put on. The only thing is, it won't take a real big pot easily, and it has a very concentrated bit of flame right in the middle. I've never tried cooking pancakes with this. I usually boil with it. I do have a set of legs on this, so you can stabilize it if you want to put cast iron or a heavier pot on it. But it's great. It's a great backpack stove. It's a great, throw it in the trunk of the car, and you're broken down. You can boil something. You can heat up a can of pre-made soup or SpaghettiOs or whatever. It's great. But each one of these has a little bit of a different thing. I would say the top two, if you're going to be out of electricity for a while and you want to do some simple boiling, heating, these are both good. If you're going to do frying, longer boil in a bigger pot, I would say the Coleman liquid fuel. This is still an unknown quantity. I'm going to retest it after I put a new canister of propane in, and we'll go from there. But as always, thanks for watching. As always, if you've got any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you subscribe, you will see notifications for all of our upcoming videos. And as the weather cools down, we're going to do a little bit more stuff outside. So thanks again. Have a great one.